Hello everyone, this is Anu Bhardwaj and today we will discuss about solid state. As we all know that solid state is a huge topic to be discussed about. But here in this lecture we will discuss about only two subtopics, that are classification of solids as well as defects found in solids. So let us start with a basic introduction. We all know that there are three states of matter: solid, liquid, gases. No doubt there are many other states of matter as well, like plasma, etc. But here we will discuss about solid, liquid, gases only. So solid are rigids, solid have fixed shape, solids have fixed volume. We all know that. In case of liquid, they are not rigid. They have no fixed shape, but they do have fixed volume. In case of gases, we can say that they are not rigid, they do not have fixed shape, they have no fixed volume as well. As the picture depicts, that in solid, constituent particles are closely packed with each other. In liquid, constituent particles are at some distance away from each other. In case of gases, particles are away from each other. In solid, due to the low distance between the constituent particle, we can say that there is no translational motion possible. We can say solids can have only vibrational motion, but that is not the case of liquid and gases. Also, solids have no property to flow, but liquid and gases can flow. Thirdly, we can say that solids are incompressible. We cannot compress them, but liquid and gases are compressible. Basically, we have seen many examples around us that depicts us about solid, liquid and gases. For example, a spoon that is in solid state. For example, water that is liquid. And LPG gas that we use in our homes for domestic purpose is a gas. So there are huge crowd of solid, liquid and gases around us. Here we have to discuss about solids only. So let us start from the basic characteristics of solids. So these are the characteristics of solid. First, they have definite volume and definite shape. It means we can't change the shape of the solid by compressing it. It has fixed volume and fixed shape. Second, they have regular order of arrangement of particles. It means there is an ordered arrangement of constituent particle in structure. There is a basic structure of solids, we can say. Third, strong intermolecular forces between the particles. There is a strong forces of attraction between the solid particles. Fourth, solids have basically low kinetic energy in comparison to liquids and gases. So these are the basic characteristics of solid that we should know before continuing further. Our next topic is classification of solids. Classification can be done on various bases. In the case of solid, we can say classification can be done on the basis of arrangement of constituent particle. Secondly, we can do classification on the basis of molecular forces between the constituent particle. Third, we can do classification of solid based on the nature of constituent particles. So here first we will classify solids on the basis of arrangement of constituent particle. This constituent particle may be atoms, molecules or ions. So on this basis, we can say solid can be classified into two types, that are crystalline and amorphous solid. A crystalline solid is a substance in which constituent particles are arranged in a definite geometric pattern in all three dimensions. Means there is a regular pattern of arrangement that is followed in a crystalline solid. They have long range order. They are also called true solids. Example of crystalline solids are copper, silver, and compound like sodium chloride, sucrose, and quartz also comes under the category of crystalline solid. Second type is amorphous solid. Amorphous solid do not have any regular arrangement between their constituent particles. They do not have a regular ordered pattern of constituent particle. They are called supercooled liquid or pseudo-solids. Example of amorphous solids are glass and pitch, etc. In the figure we can clearly see that crystalline solid have regular arrangement of constituent particle, regular geometry of constituent particle, but that is not the case in amorphous solid. We can say glass a supercooled liquid because we can give evidence for it. For example, we have observed in an old building, in a very old building, where glass is used on window pane, etc. We see that glass pane is thick from the bottom and thin from the upper part. It means we can see that the particles have moved, and moving is the property of liquid. That's why we call it supercooled liquid or pseudo solids, because in actual it behaves as solid. So basically two types of solids are there, crystalline solid and amorphous solid, on the basis of arrangement of constituent particle. Further, we have to see some differences between crystalline and amorphous solid. So crystalline solids versus amorphous solid. Crystalline solids have definite and regular arrangement of constituent particle in space. Amorphous solids do not have any regular arrangement of the constituent particle in space. Secondly, crystalline solids are true solids. Amorphous solids are supercooled liquid or pseudo-solids. Crystalline solids have long range order in the arrangement of particles. Amorphous solids have short range order in the arrangement of particle. These are anisotropic in nature. Means crystalline solids are anisotropic in nature. That means their physical properties like refractive index, etc. will be different in different direction. It means if we measure refractive index from two different directions, the result will be different for crystalline solid. But amorphous solids are isotropic in nature. Their physical properties are same in all the directions. Crystalline solids have a sharp melting point. It means change of crystalline solid into liquid state is an abrupt change. But amorphous solids do not have any sharp melting point. They melt over a certain range of temperature. Crystalline solid undergo a clean cleavage when cut out through a sharp knife. Amorphous solid undergo irregular cleavage when cut through a sharp knife. Crystalline solid have a definite and characteristic heat of fusion, but that is not the case of amorphous solid. They do not have definite heat of fusion. So we can say these are the basic difference between crystalline and amorphous solid. Further, crystalline solid is also classified on the basis of nature of particles or nature of binding forces between the constituent particle. So crystalline solids are further classified into following types. First, molecular crystal. As the name suggests, here constituent particles are molecule which do not carry any charge. For example, hydrogen molecule, H2 molecule. It do not carry any charge. This molecular crystal can be further classified into following category based on the nature of molecule. For example, non-polar molecular solid. Non-polar molecule solid means molecule here used is non-polar. For example, helium, hydrogen, chlorine molecule, etc. Second classification of molecular crystal is polar molecular solid. For example, HCl, SO2, etc. Here, molecule which is used as a constituent particle is polar molecule. Third, hydrogen bonded molecular solid. It means the molecule which can undergo hydrogen bonding are used as constituent particles. For example, H2O. So, molecular crystals are further classified into three categories, that are non-polar molecular solid, second polar molecular solid, and third hydrogen bonded molecular solid. Second type of crystalline solids are ionic crystal. These crystals are held together by a strong Coulombic interaction between oppositively charged particles. Example, NaCl, KCl, etc. It means that there are ions. Ions are bound together to form a molecule, form a constituent particle. Ionic crystals are hard and brittle. They have high melting point and boiling point. They are insulator in solid state but conductor in molten state. It means they do not conduct electricity in solid state. For example, NaCl, sodium chloride, the simple salt we use in our homes. It doesn't contain electricity in its solid state, but it's in aqueous form. NaCl solution can conduct electricity. Third type of crystalline solids is covalent crystal. Covalent crystals are held together by covalent bonds in three-dimensional structure. For example, diamond. Diamond is an example of covalent crystal. They are poor conductor of electricity, high enthalpy of fusion, and they have high melting point as well. We can say that diamond have very high melting point. Fourth type of crystalline solids are metallic crystals. In these crystals, the constituent particles are positive ions called kernels. It means जो positive ions used हैं, they are also called kernels. Here kernels are immersed in a sea of mobile electron. Bond present here is a metallic bond. Metallic crystals have same properties as metal, like they are malleable, they are ductile, they have shining luster, they give a sonorous sound when struck with other metal. Examples of metallic clusters are iron, gold crystals, etc. In the figure we see that yellow particles are free electron and metal ions are immersed in it. So we can say the given picture is a structure of metallic crystal to understand the bonding between metallic crystals. So we have studied about the further classification of crystalline solids. Now we will discuss it in a brief. So type of crystal, a summary. Ionic crystals have dispersion forces or Coulombic attraction as their intermolecular forces. They are hard, they have high melting point, poor conductor of electricity or heat. It means poor conductor of electricity in their original or solid form. Examples of ionic crystals are KCl, CaCl2, NaF, MgO, aluminium oxide, etc. Molecular crystals. Here dispersion forces, dipole-dipole interaction, H2 bonds are their forces, intermolecular forces. Their properties is that they are soft, low melting point, poor conductor of electricity Their examples are H2O, helium, hydrogen molecule, etc. Third, covalent crystals. Their intermolecular forces are covalent bond. They are hard, high melting point, poor conductor of electricity. Examples are carbon, silicon oxide, etc. Fourth is metallic crystal. Here intermolecular forces are metallic bonds. They have high melting point, good conductor of electricity, and examples are sodium, nickel, iron, aluminium, copper, etc. So we have discussed all the types of solids. Basically we can say that on the basis of arrangement of constituent particle, solids are classified into two types, amorphous and crystalline solids. Crystalline solid is further classified on the basis of nature of constituent particle as well as binding force between the constituent particle. Now we will discuss about our next topic, that is defects found in solids. Imperfection or defects in solids. We all know that solids have a definite shape, definite arrangement of constituent particle. They are closely packed. If there is any irregularity in that crystal, in that arrangement, then we can say that there is a defect in the crystal. So we can say that defects are basically irregularities in the arrangement of constituent particle. They may be due to vacancy of any ions, any constituent particles. So there are many ways through which defect can be observed in a crystal. Defect can arise due to heating. Defect can arise due to impurities. Or defect can also be arise due to deficiency of something in the crystal. Broadly speaking, there are two types of defect in solid mainly. First is point defect. This defect arises around a point in the crystal lattice. Second, line defect. When we observe irregularities around the entire row of the lattice. When we observe irregularities around the entire row of lattice, we can say that there is line defect in the crystal. Here we will discuss about point defects only. Point defects. There are three types of point defect basically. We all know what are point defects. Point defects are the defects that arise at a certain point in the crystal lattice. So basically there are three types of point defects. First is stoichiometric defects. Second is impurity defect, and third is non-stoichiometric defect. As the name suggests, stoichiometric defects are the defects that do not change the stoichiometry of the solids. It means these defects do not disturb the stoichiometry of the solids. It means if there is an irregularities but the actual stoichiometry of the solid remain intact. Stoichiometric defects are also called intrinsic or thermodynamic defects. Second type of point defect is impurity defect. As we all know, and the also name suggests that this defect is due to some impurity present in the crystal. If there is a presence of any impurity in the crystal, we can say that there is impurity defect in that particular crystal. Third, non-stoichiometric defect. Non-stoichiometric defect is the defect that disturbs the stoichiometry of the compound of the solid. So we will discuss these effects one by one here. First, we will discuss stoichiometric defect. Stoichiometric defects are further classified into four types. The first is vacancy defect. As name suggests that this defect is due to vacancy. When some lattice sites are vacant, the defect in crystal is said to be vacancy defect. This results in the decrease of density of the crystal. As we see in the figure, that blue color spheres are the actual molecules arranged in a regular pattern, and the pink circle show the vacant site. The pink circles are showing vacant lattice site, and here we can say there is vacancy defect. Vacancy defect result in the decrease of density of crystal because volume remains the same, and due to the absence of these constituent particles in the that should be on the place of pink circle are missing, so mass will be decreased. It means density, that is equal to the ratio of mass upon volume, will also be decreased. So we can say that vacancy defect results in the decrease of density of crystal. Next is interstitial defects. When some constituent particles occupy interstitial site, then this defect occurs. Density increase due to this. It means that any of the constituent particle from outside comes at the interstitial site of the lattice. Interstitial site means the place between the actual arrangement of the constituent particle. So here mass increase, due to which density increase. During both vacancy and interstitial defect in ionic solid, electrical neutrality should be maintained. So we can say vacancy and interstitial defect can happen in non-ionic solid as well. But in ionic solid, electrical neutrality should be maintained during these defects. Next is Frankel defect. This defect is shown by ionic solid basically. This is also a stoichiometric defect. Here, smaller ion is dislocated from the original site to an interstitial site. Smaller ion will be most probably the cation. Here cation is displaced from the original site and comes at an interstitial site. Basically we can say that this defect cause vacancy defect at the original site of the cation and cause interstitial defect at the interstitial site of the lattice. This defect is also called dislocation defect. This defect does not change density of the substance. Zinc sulfide, silver bromide, silver iodide, etc. are some examples which show Frenkel defect. In the figure we can see that A positive and B negative anion and cation have a regular arrangement, and one of the A positive smaller cation is displaced from the original site and comes at the interstitial site. So here Frenkel defect is arising. Next is Schottky defect. It is basically the vacancy defect in the ionic solid. In order to maintain electrical neutrality, number of missing cation and anions are equal. It means there are missing ions, but missing cations and missing anions are equal in number to maintain the electrical neutrality. It also decreases density of the substance. Example of substance showing this defect are sodium chloride, potassium chloride, silver bromide, etc. Silver bromide is an example of the compound that show both Frenkel as well as Schottky defect. Next type of point defect is impurity defect. When some other ions come in the place of actual ion, but maintaining the electrical neutrality, we can say that there is impurity effect. Impurity defect, for example, in the crystal of NaCl, if Na positive is replaced by Sr2 positive, we can say that they have impurity defect. Next is non-stoichiometric defect. Non-stoichiometric defects are basically the defect that disturb the stoichiometry of the substance. They are of two types. First, metal excess defect. Second, metal deficiency defect. Metal excess defect may be due to anionic vacancy or may be due to excess of cation. Metal excess defect is shown in alkyl halide like NaCl due to anionic vacancies, and due to excess of cation, zinc oxide show the defect, that is metal excess defect. Another type of non-stoichiometric defect is metal deficiency defect, which is due to the cationic vacancies or deficiency of cations. So we have discussed about all the defects found in solids, and here our lecture is finished. Thank you.